The Detroit Lions are going to win the NFC North this season. I'm here to break down why I think that. Like I said, I'm going to break down why I think the Detroit Lions are going to win the NFC North this season. But before we get into it, make sure you like and subscribe. It really helps out this channel. Let me know in the comments, who is your favorite wide receiver in the NFL? For me personally, it's Stephon Diggs, but let me know what y'all think in the comments. What's your favorite NFL wide receiver? And let's get into it. So first off, let's break down the Lions roster and what I personally think about it. Let's break down the Lions offense first. At quarterback, the Lions currently have Jared Goff as their starting quarterback. In my opinion, he's the best quarterback in that division. Now, there's another guy that some people might say is better, but y'all can debate in the comments. Personally, I have Goff over that other guy. But honestly, I really like Jared Goff as their quarterback. In 2022, Jared Goff had a 25% completion rate, 4,400 yards, 29 TDs to 7 interceptions, and a 99 passer rating. Honestly, if you look at these stats, Jared Goff did really good last season, and I think he can do really good once again. And the weapons around Goff makes them even better, which these weapons are amazing. At wide receiver, they have Amon-Ra St. Brown, which in my opinion, he's dang near a top 10, borderline top 10 or top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. He's really great. They also got Jameson Willams. Last year was his rookie year. We didn't see him play much. He did get suspended for the whole gambling thing, but it's okay. I think Jameson can come back and still be great. They also got guys like Marvin Jones, which they brought back. He was on the Jaguars for a little bit, but now he's back on Detroit. They also have guys like Josh Reynolds and Khalif Raymond, who thrived in this offense last season, which was honestly, those are some decent wide receivers to have as backups. Their running back situation is completely different than last year. Last year they had DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams. This year they're switching stuff up. They signed David Montgomery in free agency and drafted Jahmyr Gibbs in the first round. I think Gibbs can honestly be great. I think honestly they can kind of use him like how Alvin Kamara was used in the Saints offense. I think that pass catching back is something that Gibbs should be able to do, and it's going to be how the Lions use Gibbs. That's honestly my just personal opinion on it. Also, in my opinion, the Lions have a great defense. I know it was very shaky last year, but actually towards the end of the year it started to look good. They got guys like Aiden Hutchinson, Alex Anazoli. I probably said the name wrong. I apologize. They drafted guys like Jack Campbell and Brian Branch out of Alabama, which I think was a great value pick for them. They got cornerback Emmanuel Mosley. They got James Houston, and they just got some guys on defense, some very solid guys on defense. And as we saw last year, this defense started trending up and the defense actually started to look good. So honestly, I think that this defense, I think in the draft they should have did a little bit more with that defense instead of drafting Gibbs in the first round and all that. But still, I still think they got a solid defense, and I still think this defense can be very solid going in the next season. With Dan Campbell at head coach, I really think this Detroit Lions team is going to be something good. I think Dan Campbell could potentially be a head coach of the year candidate. But honestly, I think this is the best team in the NFC North. Like I said, it's an amazing, great squad. I think the squad's going to do great things. But I feel like it's unfair to make a video on why I think the Lions are going to win the NFC North if I don't talk about why the other three teams in the NFC North are not going to win the division. So let's get into that. First off, let's start off with the team that won the division last year in the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I already made a whole video on why I think the Minnesota Vikings are going to regress, and I really think they actually are. I'm just going to do a brief of the Minnesota Vikings because, like I said, I already made a whole video on that. Just click the card up there to watch the full thing. But listen, the Vikings are going to regress. Last year, the Vikings had a negative 3-point differential. That was a huge story, how the Vikings were like barely winning games, and games that they lost badly, like losing to Philly, like losing to Dallas. Games that they lost bad, and then of course they'd get clapped up in the first round to the Giants. I really don't see that much changing with this team. They still got Kirk and Jefferson, but I mean, if Kirk is not on his A game, this combination really isn't that good together. I know it's a great combination. Jefferson, the best wide receiver in the NFL currently. I think it's great, but like some stuff is like, and my one big thing with this Minnesota Vikings team is the defense. I already broke down this whole defense, but like I said, this defense is really not that great. I know adding Brian Flores is an amazing thing. I really personally like Brian Flores, but I still don't think this defense really adds that much to this team, and this defense needs to be good, because if this defense isn't going to be good, they're still going to end up losing games. You can't be a 10+ win team and win the division and then really not do anything to help and fix this defense and still think you can run it back the next year, win the division, and have Super Bowl aspirations, because it's just not happening this year. I'm sorry, I don't see Minnesota winning the division. There's just a lot of question marks. Also, they released Dalvin Cook. There's just way too many question marks for me to see if the Minnesota Vikings will win the division division. We'll see what happens when we get into the season, but for me personally, there's too many question marks for Minnesota. Next up, the Green Bay Packers. Listen, Aaron Rodgers isn't here no more, guys. I don't think that Jordan Love's just going to come in right away. I think Jordan Love's going to be a great quarterback in the NFL. I just don't think right away they're going to come in and win the division. I just don't see that happening year one. There's some questions. Jordan Love still has to get the rhythm of playing a full season. I just don't think first year right away they're going to go ahead and win the division. There's still some questions on the offense. They still got great guys like AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones, but that wide receiver room is kind of questionable. They do have Christian Watson, but some people are like, watch out for Christian Watson, especially in fantasy. They got guys like Romeo Dobbs. They have a decent squad, I will say, but I just don't think Jordan Love in his first full year is going to go ahead and then win the division over the Detroit Lions, which is clearly, they got an experienced quarterback, they got some experienced players, and they got some great players over there. They got some great players in Green Bay too, but I just can't see Green Bay making that jump right away with Jordan Love's first starting year. Like I said though, if Aaron Rodgers were here, we would be doing a whole different video right now. But with Jordan Love starting, I just can't see them winning. Even though Jordan Love has looked great at times, I just don't think that the Packers can go ahead first year, go ahead and win the division. I just don't think it's happening. And I'm guessing many of y'all can go ahead and agree with me with this, that I don't see the Packers winning the division the first year. I think it maybe later down the line they can win it with Love, but first year, I do not see this happening. And then the last team in the NFC North, the Chicago Bears. Now, I am not a DJ Moore and Justin Fields hater, unlike some people out there. I actually really like Justin Fields. He's actually one of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL, and I also really like DJ Moore. I just don't see them winning the division this year. I could potentially see them being a little 7 seed, sneaky little 7 seed. That video is going to be coming soon. Don't worry, guys. I'll have that out soon. But I don't see them winning the division right away over the Detroit Lions. Like I said, I really like what they did in the offseason. I think Justin Fields is going to make a huge leap, but an actual wide receiver room now that he has DJ Moore and not Chase Claypool, who's barely a shell of himself that once was in Pittsburgh. But like I said, I just don't think this Bears team can top the Detroit Lions. They did do some changes on that defense, some changes to the O-line, some desperate needed changes. They really need these changes to help fix this Bears team. But I could potentially see this Bears team as an 8 to 9 win team, a little 7 seed win. I think Detroit can win way more games than that. Detroit might be in the little, like, I don't know, like the 11 to 12 win range, depending on their schedule, which I'm going to break down their schedule and my future stuff with Detroit next. But like I said, I think most of y'all can agree, the 3-13 team, I love Justin Fields. I just don't think first year winning the division with all this new stuff, I don't think it's happening. I think 7 seed playoffs is definitely possible, but I definitely don't think that the Chicago Bears can come up here and win the division first year. There's also some questions for them too. All the other 3 teams have questions here besides Detroit, in my opinion. Minnesota, that defense is a question. Jordan Love's a question for Green Bay, and how this newly shaped team is going to work for Chicago. All questions. Detroit really doesn't have them big of questions, unlike those other 3 teams. I think Detroit is the most stable team and the most non-questionable team in the NFC North, and this is why I personally think they're going to win the division. The Lions have a very interesting schedule this year. Of course, they open up with KC. That's pretty much a tough game. But the Lions schedule, there's some hard opponents. There's some easy opponents. They play the whole NFC South, which is kind of like a good thing, I would say. But it's definitely very interesting. They play the Ravens. The Cowboys, and they have a whole bunch of divisional games, which are definitely going to be a huge thing. I definitely think if they can beat Green Bay and Chicago and knock off Minnesota too, I see them winning the division. Honestly, I see them as a 10 to 13 win team, and I really think that this Detroit Lions team can go ahead and win the NFC North. And I think this year they're going to break their playoff drought and win a playoff game. I know it sounds crazy, but I already made a video about that like a few months ago. I think that the Detroit Lions are going to win the NFC North and win a playoff game this year. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the video, please drop a subscribe and like. It really helps out the channel. Make sure you watch these 2 videos right here. It's some great work by me. I hope all of y'all have a nice day, and I will see y'all in the next one.